Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon Kaur. We are from the Asia Pacific Language Center. In collaboration with the Asia Pacific Corporate Training, would like to thank you for your presence to this webinar on fundamentals of public speaking. Before we start, allow me to introduce to the very gorgeous and experienced presenter. Today, we have Ms. Haryati Howe with us. Ms. Haryati has been a senior trainer with Asia Pacific Language Center for the past 13 years, with 20 years of teaching and training experience in ESL. She has delivered numerous public speaking sessions to various clients. So without further delay, let's welcome Ms. Haryati Howe to deliver the webinar. All the best, Yati.
Thank you, Sharon, for the introduction. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Fundamentals of Public Speaking. So as you know, my name is Haryati, but you can refer to me as Yati, yeah? Okay, before I begin, let me show you the objectives of today's session. I'll be covering three areas, of public speaking. They are basically types of presentation, presentation methods, as well as presentation language. All right. So guys, before I go into the details, right, I want you to communicate with me via the chat, chat section. Think about it for a while and then tell me what you think public speaking is all about. Okay, I'll wait for your answers. What do you think is public speaking? Come on. I would like to see some answers from you. And then we'll discuss about this. Anybody? You have 15 more seconds. What is public speaking to you? No takers. Okay, all right. So basically, okay, if you look at public speaking, it's basically a way of sharing information with the audience. Okay, it doesn't matter what size. Okay, I see someone typing confidence just now. Okay, I see somebody typing confidence. Anyone else? All right. If you say Dawood, Dawood said confidence. That's very good, Dawood. Okay, confidence. It is a part of public speaking as well. Yeah, because when you want to speak in public, you need to have confidence. Okay, so basically to summarize, Zilkan has just given me an answer. Sharing information with the public, that's very good. Okay, so when you say sharing information with the public, it can be a big, a big group of audience, or it can be just one person. All right, so public speaking is basically just giving out information, okay, different types of information to audience. Okay, Mr. Karsipilai. Okay, Mr. Karsipilai saying communicating with the public. Excellent. All right. So now, as I said just now, I'm presenting 3 points of public speaking, which is the type of presentation, the presentation method, and presentation language. Now, if you look at the next slide, okay, there are 4 types of public speaking in general. Yeah, we have ceremonial speech, we have demonstrative speech, informative speech, and persuasive speech. Okay, those of you who have been commenting just now, can you tell me what do you think is a ceremonial speech? What does it involve? What is the ceremonial speech? When do you give ceremonial speech? What is the reason, purpose of a ceremonial speech? Anyone? Or if you know about demonstrative or informative or persuasive, you can just give out an answer. Let's see if you have any idea of this. You can actually make sense from the word itself. Ceremonial comes from the ceremony. So, just try your guess. I haven't got any feedback yet. At a wedding. Thank you, Saskia. Okay, at a wedding. Ceremonial speech is given at a wedding. Okay, anything else? Anyone else? What about demonstrative speech? Demonstrative speech. When we think we gave out demonstrative speech, not at a demo, yeah? It's not like when you're going out on the street and, demonstrating. That's not it. Let me give you a hint. When you are attending a science fair, for example, okay? All right. So Archie Muhammad said social gatherings such as weddings. Very good, Archie. Thank you. Okay. So I'm just going to go through with you. Okay. Speaking of someone special day. Very good, Muhammad. Muhammad Wajdi. Okay. So I'll go through with you about these four types of public speaking. Okay. Um, Basically, as you said, you have guessed it right, yeah? Ceremonial speech is given at special occasions, okay? And basically involves emotional connection and it's very personal. Okay? It's very personal, as you said, it's not at weddings, okay? At weddings on a special day for someone, yeah? It could be at a graduation, farewells, okay? Or birthdays. You can also say eulogy, yeah? When someone passed on and then you're giving a speech about that person and, saying good things about him or her. All right. So ceremonial speech is given for special occasions, yeah, at a ceremony, right? Okay. The next one, okay, these are some samples of speeches. Okay, the first one that you can see that starts with to tell the truth. Okay, this one is an eulogy. Yeah, and the second one is for a wedding. Okay, a speech by a bridesmaid. As you can see, she started off by saying, I've known this lady, since the eighth grade. Yeah, so it's very personal. And the bottom part is basically about a farewell, speech talking about a colleague who's leaving and saying good things about this person. So these are some samples of ceremonial speeches. Okay, right. On the other hand, yeah, demonstrative speech is all about teaching, giving knowledge, okay, teaching skills and giving knowledge to your audience. Okay, demonstrative speech usually involves role playing and showing how something is done or teaching someone how to, yeah, how to. It can be public or private demonstrations, okay? And then if you're a Go Shop fan, okay, if you always watch Go Shop Malaysia, you will see they will invite different people, different celebrities to show how a certain product is being used. So that is considered as demonstrative speech. Okay. It can also be when you are introducing a new product to the market. So you can come up with, you can see people coming up or companies coming up with advertisements of, showing how something is used or the performance of a product. So all this is considered as demonstrative speech. Demonstrative speech can be either verbal or it can also just be visual. Okay, visuals with subtitles and instructions. Okay, so demonstrative speech can be that way. Yeah, right. Just today, I was watching a video. I'm not sharing with you the video, but I'm just showing you a picture of it because it's pretty long. So this video is teaching how to read deleted WhatsApp messages, what kind of app that you can use. So I was watching it, I was very interesting, and then I followed it, step by step, and I managed to download the app. And if you want to know, the app's name is called what do you call that? Notisave. Okay, Notisave. It's called the Notisave. So watching that video gives me the knowledge of downloading the app and using it and how to save deleted messages. It was a very interesting demonstrative video to watch. So perhaps later you can Google it and watch it on YouTube yourself. Okay, right. Next one, informative speech. Just like what I'm doing, okay, I'm giving you an informative speech. Yeah, the aim is basically to just explain a concept to the audience. Okay, the concept to the audience, the concept of public speaking, fundamentals of public speaking. You don't have to agree or disagree. Okay, your audience do not have to agree or disagree with you. They can just listen if they want to. They can just, take notes if they want to. And at the end of the day, they have gotten some new information, okay, some new concept. And whether or not they want to use it, it's up to them. But if it involves academic, informative speech like lectures, yeah, then of course you will have to apply the knowledge or the information that you receive from your lecturers in assessments. Okay, so informative speech can also be in format of conferences, okay, or public announcements. Yeah, right. So these are some of the purpose of public speaking. Okay, like when you look at our recent progress. Yeah, we always get updates from the Health Director General. Okay, Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah. He's always on TV giving us updates about the latest progress in COVID-19. So this is considered as informative speech. Okay, right. The next part, okay, I'm going to move on to the next part, which is the persuasive speech. Okay, before I go further, okay, would any one of you like to share with me if you have ever been persuaded to buy a product based on the speech given by the seller? Have you ever been persuaded to buy a product because you're convinced by the seller through his speech or her speech? Anyone? I'm waiting. Maybe Muhammad or Saskia would like to share. So Archie was online just now. Perhaps Archie would like to share with us his experience. Okay, let's wait for a little while. Yeah. Okay, we don't have any takers. That means you guys are not convinced, have never been convinced to buy any product. Okay, through persuasive speech. All right. So persuasive speech is basically, a way of speaking in order to convince the audience of an idea, a goal, or a choice. Okay. And these are specific group of audience, not like the other speeches. Okay. These are specific group of audience. For example, if you are selling a product, and you have to speak to people who are looking for that product or who might be buying that product for future. Okay, let's say you are an insurance agent. Yeah, insurance agent. How do you persuade potential clients to buy a certain plan from you? So you need to look at the type of people they are. Maybe they are a small family who's having a baby soon. So you will basically persuade them to get certain products for the baby. Okay, or maybe you are an employee who's trying to pitch a project, okay, to the management to get a certain fund. So these are the certain group of people that you'll be presenting to, okay. Or you could be, a politician trying to win votes, yeah, from the people. So these are the group of people that you have to speak to. So your audience will be made out of certain group of people, okay. Yes, very good, Muhammad. Okay, persuading others to follow your step as a leader. Okay, and when you give out persuasive speech, it involves strong language and emotional appeals. Okay, it involves strong language and emotional appeals. Why? Because when people, our feelings are basically very emotional. So if someone manages to tap into that emotional part, they have basically won us. Yeah, won us. Okay, right. Now, there are three modes of persuasion. Okay, one is the logos. Logos means the logical appeal. Okay, for example, if someone is debating, okay, and or if it's in a court session, okay, two lawyers are debating, so they are debating in front of a group of jury. So by using logos, okay, the jury will be thinking, does the speaker's argument make sense? Okay, does what you say make sense? Okay, or pathos, which is the emotional appeal to the audience. Okay, using emotional, maybe pictures, visuals, maybe using memory recall, yeah, to reach into pathos. Okay, or the last part will be the ethos. Ethos means the credibility of the speaker, him or herself. Okay, like when Miss Sharon was introduced me just now, she mentioned my position and how many years of experience I've had in teaching public speaking. So that is basically trying to create the ethos part. Okay, so three modes of persuasion you can use in persuasive speech is by looking at the logos, pathos, and ethos. Okay, all right. Okay, so enough about the four types of, public speaking. Yeah, enough about that. Let's go into the start of public speaking. All right. Most of the time, we use a very generic method of introducing ourselves. Yeah. Hi, my name is so and so. I'm from here and there. Okay, and today I'm going to talk about this because that's the most basic way of introducing yourself. Okay. Of course, we always, be very courteous when we want to introduce ourselves or someone else for a presentation. Okay. And we always must remember those who have been helping us to make the presentation a success. So we always try to start our presentation by a warm greeting and acknowledgement. Okay. Who do we acknowledge? We acknowledge those people who have been helping us behind the scene. Yeah. Okay. Second part will be the introduction, your self-introduction. How you want to say it, how you're going to introduce yourself so that the audience are interested to listen to you. Okay. And they are, sitting at the edge of their chairs, just waiting for you to say the next word. Okay. And then you can go into your title and content. All right. Okay. So greetings and acknowledgement, very simple. You can say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, okay, for being here with us today. We're very pleased to welcome you to, and then your name of the event, okay, to Fundamentals of Public Speaking. This is the most basic way of introducing or greeting, okay, or greeting before you introduce yourself. And when you want to acknowledge, you can start by saying before we start or before we get started, before I go further, yeah, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation. And then you mention the names of people and thank them for being helpful and for making your event a success. So when you start by saying this, it creates a very positive atmosphere for your presentation. Everybody's feeling good about it. Okay, especially those who are helping you out. Yeah, even the audience will be very good because they know that you are a very positive and appreciative person. Okay, right. And for introduction, okay, for introduction, there are two ways of introducing yourself. If almost everybody in the audience are familiar with you, okay, you have presented to them before, they've been following you, and there's some new ones, okay, in the audience, you can start by saying most of you know me, okay, some of you may not. For those of you who don't, I am Harati, for example, okay, but you can call me Yati, and I am yeah, I'm a senior trainer with Asia Pacific Language Center, and perhaps you want to add a brief description to your position that relates to what you're going to talk about. So I'm going to touch about this later in the next few slides, okay, about the introduction. Yeah. And then if let's say, yeah, this is your first time presenting and the audience do not know you, okay, and you are feeling nervous, especially, what can you do? Okay, what can you do to make an impressive or a memorable introduction? Okay, so by the end of the day, people remember your name. Yeah. Okay. So what you can do is I call it thought. Okay, but actually the word itself is triangle of trust. Okay, triangle of trust. Now, triangle of trust referring to the connection that you make to your topic, okay, and the connection that you make from your topic to your audience. So why do we need to make this connection? What do you think? Why do we need to make this connection? Why is it not possible? Like I'll just start off and say hi, my name is Sarati, and then just go on with my presentation. Why do you think we need to make a connection between the presenter and the topic, and then the topic and the audience to you? Anyone? Anybody with an answer? You want to guess? Muhammad seems to be very active in commenting. Let's see. Nguyen, would you like to comment? Aceh, Saskia, Ziltan, Dawood, would you like to comment? What do you think is thought or triangle of trust? Why do you need to use this? To make sure they get what you're trying to say. Very good, Dawood. Okay? To make sure they get what you're trying to say. Okay? That is one. It's a connection. Okay? Anything else? Anything else? Who else want to try? Okay. So basically when you use TOT, okay, T-O-T, using the triangle of trust, just like what Dawood said, okay, to make sure they get what you're trying to say. This means you need to create a connection, okay, a connection to your topic, from yourself to the topic and from the topic to your audience. So once the audience are connected to the topic, okay, they will feel more interested. They'll feel more excited. They'll feel more curious to know what you're going to say, the information that you're going to impart to them. Yeah. Therefore, you need to have the triangle of trust in your introduction. So how do you do that? How do you do that? Okay. Um, a very simple way that you can do, and I always practice this when I'm giving out self-introduction. Okay. Um, Usually, you can start with your name, okay, and then your position, and then you can use the memory recall technique. Okay, memory recall technique. How do you use memory recall technique? Is by basically after you introduce yourself, you can talk about the issue that you face regarding this topic before. Okay, so if you look at the sample that I'm sharing, you can see that 20 years ago, okay, I used to be a part-time admin clerk at this company. And then at that time, I was very scared of, I was very shy and very scared of public speaking. But then I hated how I felt at that time. So I promised myself I would change and be a very good public speaker. Okay. So because the topic I'm presenting is on public speaking, I'm talking to you, I'm telling you the history, how I managed to get to this point. Okay. And once I've shared with you that information, it would create some sort of relevance to you as you're attending this webinar. You must have some curiosity to know, okay, what is public speaking all about? How can I learn about public speaking? Correct? So you can actually empathize with how I felt 10 years ago. Yeah. And I'm connecting it then to the current situation by saying, okay, I overcame my problem and now I am a senior trainer teaching public speaking to a large group of audience. I've got a lot of experience in doing that. So from there, once you created this introduction using the triangle of trust, your audience will have more empathy, they will have more connection to the topic. Okay, and also they will have more idea of what you're going to say that and the credibility that you've created in your presentation. Okay, right. If you have any questions, you can ask me at the end of the presentation. Yeah, no issues. You can type out your questions first, and then later we will look at it. Right. Okay. The next point that we're going to touch about is in using your voice. Okay, using your voice. Um, okay. When we attend a seminar or when we go to classes sometimes, when we attend a presentation, usually the presenters will be using the microphone. Yeah, microphone, a clip-on mic or a handheld microphone. Um, and if you are giving a public speech, you will be given one as well. Okay, but there are times when it was an impromptu session where you don't need a microphone and you have to basically rely on your voice. Okay, your voice. Now, if you are born with naturally, loud voice, okay, then you're very lucky. But if you have very soft, okay, and a deep voice, it's very difficult for the audience to hear you if they are standing quite far or they're sitting quite far. Okay, so how do you use your voice? Yeah, one tip I would like to share with you if you are speaking without a microphone, okay, without a microphone to a large group of audience, is you need to speak from the stomach area. Okay, push your voice out from the stomach area, not from your throat, not from your vocal cord here. Yeah, it has to come from your stomach, from deep inside. So how you do that is by breathing. Okay, breathing, you breathe, and then open your mouth wide and you can speak as usual, but you must make sure the breathe comes from, or your breath comes from the stomach, not from your throat. You will have a sore throat at the end of the day if you try to speak using only your vocal cord. Okay? All right. The other part is basically by speaking slowly but clearly. All right. We are all, I think almost all of us here are second language speakers. Yeah. Okay. When you are a second language speaker, what is your main worry when you give out public speech? Can you share with me? What's your main concern when you're speaking in public or giving a presentation? Because we are not first language speaker. Can you tell me what your problems are? or your main concern before I go into speaking slowly and clearly? Because it has some connection there. Missing some words, forgetting your words. Okay, what else? Missing some words, all right? That's forgetting your words. Thank you, Dawood. You have been so very active. Very good. Okay? You have a lot of confidence there. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Can you share with me? What are your major concerns besides that? Okay, one is missing some words, forgetting your words, what to say. Oh my God. Okay? And what else? Anyone else? The other part is, this is based on my own research, yeah, when I speak to my students as well as to my audience, okay, after my presentation. A lot of them have come up to me and said, Miss Yati, I don't think my English is good enough, or I don't think my pronunciation is good enough. I don't think, I can speak fluently enough. Yeah, these are some of the major concerns that they have actually voiced out to me, right? And the biggest concern they have is their accent. Okay, is their accent pronunciation. Very good, Archie. Okay, their accent, and that affects the pronunciation. So this is one of the major concerns that they have. How do you say this word? And sometimes when they say the word is not clear enough. Now, the key to speaking clearly, yeah, it doesn't matter what accent you have. Okay, you can have a Malaysian accent, you can have French accent, you can have Middle Eastern accent, okay, or you can have European accent, right? The key to clearly pronounce word is basically on your diction, how you pronounce the word according to the syllables and the intonation. If you can pronounce the word clearly, okay, according to the correct intonation, okay, and the syllables, it doesn't matter what your accent is, you can be understood. Okay, you can be understood, believe me. All right. So what are syllables? Syllables basically the number of sound in a word. Yeah. So if I say beautiful, beautiful, then you have three sounds. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. So where do you stress these words? Where do you stress the words? So I will touch on stress later, okay, at the end of this the same slide. You can see the word stress there. Right. Ziltan, very good. You said sound. Yeah, the sound means pronunciation. Okay. Right. So if you can speak clearly using the correct pronunciation, it doesn't matter your accent, you will be understood. Okay, right. And pause, yeah, pausing. When you watch a video, you want to stop for a while because you need to go and, grab some food. You pause the video. Okay, the same thing when you're giving a presentation. Pausing is important. Okay, why? Long gap, you said gulping. Okay, gulping sometimes. Okay, you're having a problem with that. Okay, when you're giving presentation. Okay, that can be a big issue as well. Okay, all right. So when do you pause? When do you think we need to pause? When we are giving a presentation, public speaking. When do you pause? I give you a chance to guess this before I begin. I continue. When you pause, how long do you pause? Someone is googling. When you pause, just give me an answer. Okay, right. Two things, yeah. Remember, two things. You can pause before you say something important. Okay, you can pause before you say something important. All right. So pause for a short while, maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Okay, it depends on how or what kind of effect you want to have on your audience. Yeah, you can even pause for 10 seconds until everybody starts looking at you, and thinking, okay, why have you stopped talking? Yeah, if you want a dramatic effect, okay, you can do that. But pausing doesn't have to take very long. Okay, okay. After the stop point is done, okay, very good, Ziltan. You have also shared some information there. Pausing after the stop point is done, 3 or 4 times. Okay, you can pause 3 or 4 times. Okay, but remember, pausing is crucial because you want people to remember what you have just said. the message that you have just shared. Okay, so before you say something important, you can pause, or after you have said something important, you can pause as well. Okay, the reason being, when you pause, you give your audience some time to process the information or to take notes. Okay, if you continue talking after you have said something important without pausing, then the audience mind will start switching to the next topic, the next topic. You know how our minds work. Yeah, it's very fast. Okay, and today's generation, even myself, by using internet, social media, and so on, my attention span is very short. Okay, so I don't like to read too long. I don't like to watch something for too long because my mind is thinking about something else. So make sure you grab your audience attention, okay, by using pauses before or after an important point. Okay, right. Now, the next part that I'm going to touch about is basically in using stress. Yeah, right. Stress here means the way you say a word. Okay, we're not talking about stress because tomorrow you have an exam. Okay, we're not talking about stress that can cause you high blood pressure. Okay, so we're looking at stress as in how to say a word correctly, and I'm connecting it again to the first point just now, speaking slowly but clearly. Okay, you can do that by using the right stress point. Okay, by using the right stress point. Okay, so what I'm going to show you basically some basic stress tips, yeah, in terms of how you pronounce words, where to stress. Okay, so there are four ways to stress a word, right? So the first one is when you stress the first syllable. Okay, if let's say you see a word with two syllables, okay, like the word climate. Okay, climate has two syllables, climate, right? Or the word knowledge, yeah, it's two syllables. Most of the two-syllable words you can stress in the first part. Okay, you can stress in the first part. So you don't have to say climate. Okay, you don't have to say knowledge. You can say knowledge or climate, right? Unless you want to make a specific point about the weather, then you can say the word climate longer and stronger, okay, in the first syllable. Yeah. So stress in that part can actually cause the audience to pay more attention to the importance of it. All right. Okay. And you also stress, okay, most two-syllable adjectives. Yeah, adjectives. For example, when I have the word, what do you call that? Pretty. Okay, pretty. Or you can look at the example that I've given, flippant. Okay, flippant, flippant. So the first part sounds louder than the second part. Yeah, and the voice goes up and down. So this is what I mean by stress. Okay, flippant, flippant. Okay, spacious, spacious. So if you want to stress most two-syllable words, always remember the first sound is stress, and the second sound, your voice has to go lower, right? Okay. And the second part where you can stress is the last syllable, okay? The last syllable of verbs, okay? Of verbs. All right. So for example, most two-syllable verbs, yeah, you have the word require, okay? Or decide, okay? So you can stress the last part, require, require, decide, decide, okay? Practice it on your own and you'll be able to hear the difference between the intonation, okay, when you stress. Do not use monotonous sound. Monotonous means there's no up and down in your pronunciation. That is when it causes a lot of confusion, okay, to your audience. Yeah, right. And then if you look at the next point, okay, we look at the second to last syllable. Okay, the second to last syllable of words, okay, that end in all these points. Yeah, if you look at all the words that with all these points, okay, right, the IC, okay. So when you say uh, what do you call that? Catatonic, for example. Okay, right, catatonic, catatonic. Okay, the second last syllable is stress. Catatonic. Yeah, catatonic. All right. So the word that has the other ending can also be stress. All right. Okay. And the last part, Okay, you stress the third from last syllable. Okay, all right. So these are the list of words that you can use. Okay, like you would you see the word democracy. Okay, democracy. Okay, democracy. So the third from last syllable, third from last, yeah, democracy. Okay, so democracy, right? CY. The third from last. So democracy. Democracy. Okay? Democracy. Third from last. So always remember, syllables means the sound. You can use your fingers to count if you're not sure. Okay? You can use your fingers. Pretty, beautiful, angry, happy, exciting. Okay? You can use that and then you see where you want to stress. So when you practice this, after a while, yeah, you practice this. After a while, your pronunciation will be better, or pronunciation or diction will be better, and you can speak more clearly. Okay, more clearly. Yeah, right. So let's move on to the next point. Okay, using visuals and the rule of three. All right. So tell me, how many of you, I just want a yes or no answer. How many of you think that the more visuals, the better? How many of you think that the more visuals are better? Please tell yes or no. Tell me yes or no. The more visuals, the better. No? Yes? I don't know. I'm not sure. Are they important? Are visuals important? When do you use them? Yes. Yes. Nguyen said yes. Okay. All right. Yong Xiang said yes as well. More visuals are better. Okay. Are visuals important? Yes. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Long said yes. Very good. Okay. Yes. Okay, Yongsan said more visuals, better. All right, thank you for that. Now, before we start using the visuals, yes, they are important because they help us in making a point. They help the audience to understand our presentation better. Okay, especially if you are presenting to a large group of audience, and some people are not able to look, to see very clearly. So your visuals would help them to make sense of what you're talking about. Yeah. However, the most important point that you must remember when you're using visuals, okay, what is the purpose of the visual? What is the purpose? Why do you need this visual? Is it important? Okay, can you still continue your presentation without the visual? You must think about this because sometimes you put up a visual and that is the most important point in your presentation, and then you had a technical error and the whole presentation could not happen, right? Okay, so you must remember this, okay? Is this visual important? What is the purpose? And can I go on without this visual? Yeah? All right. And you have also the rule of three. Okay? What is the rule of three? Yeah, what is the rule of three? Right. The rule of three means at any point, yeah, when you are using visuals, especially when you're using PowerPoint, okay, at any point, our mind can effectively absorb 3 points at a time, okay, or three things at a time. So as best as you can, try to limit your points or visuals, okay, for three per slide. Okay, three per slide. The best is one per slide. Yeah, but of course, if you have a lot of things to say, limit it to 3 points per slide. So if you remember, when I showed you all my slides, most of the slides have 3 points each. Okay, have 3 points each. So it's easier and faster for the audience to read, okay, and to absorb. Okay, very good. Dawood, you said that you can't use so much of visuals, yeah, because your audience will not be listening to you; they'll just be looking. And when I have presentation students doing presentation in my classes, yeah, some of them tend to use a lot of visuals and a lot of words, okay, and they are reading from the slides. So I always advise them and I always remind them. I said, if you do this, then I'm not going to listen to you. I will just be reading from the slides. I'm sure some of you have been told this by your lecturers. So, I do the same thing to my students and I tell them, okay, try to limit the number of words and make sure that you focus more on your speech, okay, what you want to say, yeah, instead of just reading from the slides. So avoid using visuals just for the sake of making your slides look colorful. Avoid using visuals just, to make sure that you have enough slides. Let's say you are asked to prepare 30 slides. So, 15 of them are just visuals. Yeah. So avoid all this. Okay. So make sure your visuals are truly important and then you can actually manage your presentation without them. Okay. And the rule of three is basically 3 points per slide. Yeah. 3 points per slide. All right. Now, the next point, okay, in public speaking is using signposts. Okay, signposts. So, what are signposts and how do you use them? Okay, signposts are words. Okay, words, verbal statements. Yeah, verbal statements. Do you notice some of the signposts that I use throughout my presentation? Do you notice certain words that I use in my presentation, which are signposting? Can you guess? Can you guess? I'm reading your names here. Ziltan, Long Yap, Bin, Yong Xiang, Dawood, bin Muhammad. Can you tell me if you notice any of the signposts that I've used throughout my presentation? I'm sure you do. It's just that you're not aware of them, right? Okay. So signposts basically verbal statements that you say, okay, and you use to show your audience the transition, okay, from one point to another. When you want to move from one point to another, okay, so you use signposts, yeah, you use signposts. And what are signposts? Examples of signposts. I'm sharing with you a few things here, right? Signposting, for example, if you're moving on to a new point, okay, you can use words like moving on to the next point. I'd now like to move on to the next point. Okay, if you want to change your topic completely, you can say now let's turn to something completely different so that your audience are not confused. What is she talking about? Yeah, right. Or you can say now turning on to our plans for the future, right? If you want to give more details, then you can say let me elaborate on that. The word elaborate is very famous, yeah, in presentation because it's easy to remember. So you can say let me elaborate on that or expanding on that idea. Okay, these are some ways that you can use signposting to show transition. Okay, right. And other ways of using transition is when you want to talk about something off topic. So now I'm talking about public speaking. Let's say I want to touch about a different topic altogether. I can use the word let me digress or as a side note. And then I touch on this point and then I'll come back to the current point. Okay. Or if you want to repeat the points that you stated earlier, you can say recapping on the previous point that I've made, or let me repeat that, or as I said, as I said before, let me summarize it again. Okay, let me mention this again. Yeah, all these words are to show the repeating of an idea. Okay. If you want to go back to a point that you have mentioned or the point that you have mentioned a few times before that, right, a few slides before that, you can always say going back to the story or remember when I said. If you notice, I've used all these signposts in my presentation just now. Okay, I've used all these signposts in my presentation, right? And then we have summarizing a point. It's just like when you're writing an essay. Okay, when you're writing an essay, you can say to summarize in summary. Okay, or when you want to recap an important statement of ideas, yeah, you can say recapping. Let me recap. Okay, and before you complete your presentation, you can say in conclusion or to close this off or as a conclusion. Okay, or you can even say finally in a nutshell. Yeah, to wrap up your presentation. Okay, so these are some words that you can use to show signposts. Okay, just like when you're writing an essay, when you speak, it's important to direct your audience to where you are going to so that they do not get lost in translation. Right? Okay. So, okay, we are nearing the end, yeah? So, this is basically a few things that you need to remember, okay? When you want to put your presentation together, okay, when you want to prepare or present your speech, okay, most important thing is remember the form of language that you want to use, okay? Is it going to be formal or informal. Yeah, formal or informal, right? So if you have a group of audience who you know, you're very familiar with, like your classmates, your friends, okay, families, people you have been working with for many years, okay, or they are of similar age to you, yeah, or people who have the same interests as you do, you can use informal language. It's non-offensive. It's not offensive. But if these audience are not familiar to you, these are people who are in the corporate, uh, for example, corporate level, okay, in the higher level, and you have not met them before, yeah, they are of mixed age group, they have mixed interests, and they are not your family and friends, they are in business, okay, they are in community or organizations, then please be safe and stick to formal language, okay, formal language. Do not start off your presentation by saying, yo man, okay, it's not acceptable. It can be offensive to certain people as well, yeah, all right. And uh, for me, yeah, if I want to share with you a few things to remember when you're giving a presentation, if I don't want to say the normal things, yeah, like don't forget your words, don't be nervous, be confident, because everybody knows that, okay. But throughout my experience, when I give out a public speaking session, okay, I noticed that respect is very important when you're giving a public speech. Okay, respect. You need to respect your audience even if they are not listening to you. Okay, respect their various background, religious background, various background, political background. You must respect all this. Do not ever talk down to your audience. Okay, do not ever talk down to your audience. Make it sound like you are sharing. You are not teaching, you are not patronizing, you are sharing. Okay, be of the same level with your audience. Yeah, and don't sell. Okay, as I myself am a customer, okay, I'm a buyer, yeah, so I really hate it when someone is trying to sell too hard to me, and I switch off, okay, I switch off. So instead of selling, okay, share, yeah, share the information, be yourself, don't be someone else, don't try to emulate somebody else, don't try to be like Michael Jackson, don't try to be like Steve Jobs, yeah, don't try to emulate their behavior, okay, you can try to get their confidence, but do not be someone else because it will be very obvious when you speak. Okay? And the last part that you need to do is always smile. Always smile. Smiling is very, very infectious. So when you start smiling, people will smile back. Right? Once you get people to smile back at you, you have created a safe environment, a positive environment for your presentation. Okay? All right. So I'm at the end of my presentation about public speaking today. I hope I have shared some useful information with you. If you have any questions, if you want to share any other information with those who are watching, please type out your comments in the chat section there, and then we'll go through it. Yeah. Anyone has any questions regarding the points that I have presented just now? If you want to more, know more details, then let me know. Yeah. Okay, what if I'm stuck in a situation where I can't answer audience questions? Any techniques that can help diffuse the awkwardness? All right, Yong Xiang, I was stuck in that situation before. But lucky for me, I was co-presenting, and my colleague actually helped me. So if you are presenting solo, okay, if you're presenting solo, always have plan B. Okay, always have plan B, and try to anticipate what kind of questions that will be thrown at you. Come up with the most ridiculous question and think of an answer. Or another thing you can do is always prepare a note on the points that you have, that you have touched on, especially the points that are maybe you are asked to present on something which you're not very familiar with. So always study the points first. Study, do your research, put a lot of information in your notes on that point. Try to think of what kind of questions that would, be thrown at you. You can even ask your friends to listen and ask questions. Practice first. Yeah. Another way that you can do if really all these you were really not prepared. Okay, you were really not prepared at all. You have no notes to back you up. You have no plan B. It is very safe for you to say, can I get back to you on that? Okay, can I get back to you on that? Or what you can do is, if you want to show them that you're truly committed and you really want to answer that question, you can tell them, okay, can I have your contact address, your contact email, so I can send you a more detailed answer on that. Okay, you can also say that it's okay. You don't have to be scared of not being able to answer a question, because sometimes people come up with questions which are really out of this world. Yeah, so it is instead of giving them an answer that they know is, hey, you were just cooking it up. Yeah, that's not the answer I want. You can always tell them, so sorry, or you can say, okay, since I don't really have the answer right now, okay, because your question is something, that I need to really consider before answering. Can I have your contact address? And then I will, get back to you on this. So at the end of the presentation, you make sure you go to this person who asked you the question and get the contact information. So that would be the worst case scenario. Yeah, worst case scenario. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Okay, Yongjiang. Okay, anyone else with a question? The key points that I've shared with you regarding fundamentals of public speaking here, it can be applied in any languages. Okay, it can be applied in any languages, not just English. Yeah. So of course, we'll be more comfortable if we're presenting in our native language. Okay, and we have a lot of issues. But certain key points that you can use, like when you introduce yourself and all that, you can use those points to make it more effective. Okay. All right. So do we have any more questions? Agni, I see your comment, but I'm not sure I understand the language. Is it Indonesian? Okay, right. I see Long is asking, how do you prepare yourself before presentation? Okay, it depends on what kind of presentation you're giving. Okay, you have to research on the topic a lot. Yeah, you have to research the topic a lot, read on it. Okay, read as many as you can, take points, and then practice giving the presentation. Okay, even for me, I've been doing this for nearly 20 years. At before every presentation, I will be practicing like mad, because I want to have you know the familiarity with the topic. I want to be able to know what is jumping out at me, okay, when I'm presenting. Yeah, I don't want to be lost for words. So you need to do your research. There's no shortcut to it. You need to do your research and you need to practice. Okay, practice makes perfect, as we all you know. So that is one thing you can do, and you always have a backup plan. Yeah, always have a backup plan. If this doesn't work, what am I going to do next? Always have a backup plan so you are not caught in panic. Yeah, when something happens, right? How do you make how do you make the speech interesting if you are forced to present a topic which you are not into it? Yes, I know. I've got a lot of students who have done this to me. Okay, Zilkan. Right. How do you make a speech interesting? Okay. Um, if you are asked to make a speech about yourself, right? Of course, you can. You don't have to be what do you call that? Very robotic about it. Okay, you can use humor. Yeah, you can use humor. You can use personal anecdote. Personal anecdote means personal stories. Yeah, personal experience. It can be yours or it can be somebody else's. Okay, you can have an opening by telling a story. All right, because I think almost everybody loves listening to a story. Okay, especially when it's about something, the experience that they can relate to. Okay, so you can start by telling a story. Make sure that the story has a connection to your topic. Okay, and don't just go straight into the topic. Have a communication with your audience, so that you can actually create a bond, yeah, a rapport with your audience. So when you have a rapport with your audience, then even if the topic is not interesting, they want to hear you because they feel a connection to you. Yeah. The first part that is important is your introduction. When you are able to catch the audience attention with your story, okay, with your personal anecdote, with a humorous opening, okay, with a theoretical question, then you are already halfway there. Theoretical question is like the question that I asked you in the beginning. When I asked you what is public speaking, okay, and it gets you thinking. Yeah, it gets you thinking. What is public speaking? Theoretical question doesn't actually require an answer. Okay, you can open with a humorous anecdote story. Okay, it doesn't have to be connected, but just to freshen up your audience a little bit. So this is how you make a topic interesting, even if you are not into it. Yeah, by hook or by crook, you have to, uh, because most probably you're talking about presentation that you have to do for your class. Yeah, and it's graded, so you're forced to do it. So you can start by doing that, as I said, beginning with anecdote, personal story, humorous or opening quotation, yeah, a rhetorical question. Anything else? Anyone else who wants to ask me a question? We still have about 4 minutes. Anyone else? You're welcome, Nguyen. You're welcome, Yongxiang. You're welcome, Dawood. I think I know you, Dawood. Were you my student before in APLC? Okay. So I think that wraps up everything. Okay. Thank you for your. I see Jerry Chong just joined. Unfamiliar territories are best to be told through someone else's eyes. That's very good. Thank you for sharing that, Jerry. I was hoping that you would join us. Okay. All right. So I'd like to thank all of you for being here. Okay. For being online today. 3 to 4. I know it's a time when we're all planning to take a nap, but you guys are here, so that makes you 10% above the other people who could be here but chose not to. Yeah. So thank you very much for listening. And if you've got any other questions, you can always post it later. Okay. And on and off, we can check it out easily. You can even communicate with me via the chat, yeah, in the recorded session there. Okay? All right. Thank you, Bawani. I can see Bawani's name there. Okay. All right. So that's all. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much.